flags, raising flags. Hit them fast, secure the bag. Don't even blink, make them walk the plank. Light them up, let's make them sing. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. On Bucks, yeah, we on. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. The whole field's our red zone. Let me give you 55 reasons why this is our season. Palm trees breezing, opposing teams bleeding.
All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. As I always say, it's my thing. And I've pretty much proven that throughout the years, of course. And I'm joined by my co-host, KB. How are you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. Could be better. Could be better. We can just preface that.
Okay, yeah, we definitely could. But at the end of the day, the Buccaneers are going into a bye week, and they should come back pretty healthy. And
Hey.
yeah, knock on wood or Formica or whatever the hell this is here. But yeah, knock. So we're gonna start with the obvious. Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost a game they damn sure should have won. And I'm not gonna beat a dead horse and talk about officiating because I don't even care. There were plays that the Bucs should have made that would have secured the game. It's kind of like boxing. In boxing, you don't want to put your fight in the ref's hands. You want to knock them out and just get it all done. So, that's kind of the thing that I'm looking at, and I think that they will they'll actually get this fixed. So
yeah, for me, it came down to. I mean, I think we just touch on the penalties real quick. Yeah, the Buccaneers, about half of their penalties were on them, half were refs either not. We know there's calls that should have been made that weren't made, but we'll just go off the ones that were made.
The Buccaneers, about half of their penalties were on them.
I'm like on bad echo. Oh, there we go. Now I'm gone. Yeah, so half of those penalties, I mean, were straight bullshit. I mean, the whole Will Golston thing, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, and this is where I think a lot of people, or some people, not a lot of you, some of you, for instance, when after the game I said, losses on Brady, 3 turnovers, as bad as the defense played, Bucks still had the chance. If you give Tom Brady the ball with less than 2 minutes, only needing a field goal with a timeout, I mean, he's going to win 90 to 95% of those games.
yeah,
It happens. We lost. If everything went as bad as it did in New Orleans, and it was still what, a 2-point loss? It's really, or 9. Oh, excuse me, it was one. The pick six, whatever.
Yeah, walk off.
But like, really, the game was basically over at that point. It's really a 2-point loss in my one. We're on a 2-point loss. I mean, it is what it is. You just got to roll with it. This team's severely beat up. I mean, Pierre Desir was playing fucking cornerback for us.
Yeah. I just kind of want to go over some things because this is kind of where I'm at. Bruce Arians has not figured out a way to consistently at least split games with New Orleans. Sean Payton has been in his ass since 2019.
1-4, baby.
Mm-hmm. And
got the one that mattered though.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. So I don't know.
But see, here's the thing, Gene. What have I said since week 1 of this season, or before week 1, all off season? Everyone's talking about 17-0. What the fuck did I say? Todd Bowles is going to play straight up zone defense. Teams are going to score so many points on us, and our offense is going to lead us to a 13-4, 14-3 season. Todd Bowles now just doesn't have Carlton Davis. He doesn't have Sean Murphy Bunting. He doesn't even have Richard Sherman. Pierre Desir is like literally quarterback 7 or 8 on our roster.
Exactly.
D. Delaney was ahead of Pierre Desir in terms of the pecking order at the cornerback position. And we saw it. I mean, pre-game, I even said for the Saints game, what you do not do is blitz this game. And I'm assuming I made that statement before Jameis Winston was out of the game. That was a specific game plan for Jameis.
Mm-hmm.
Drop 7. Have someone be a spy, whether that's Joe Tron, Sharinka, Devin White, whoever the hell it is. We saw Jameis was killing us with his legs early. Then Trevor Siemian comes in, and what we do, we blitz 7, blitz 6, blitz 7, Pierre Desir's playing 10 yards off of receivers. I don't care if they're no-name receivers. This is an offensive league.
Right.
The Saints are going to move the ball. And, the way the cookie crumbles, it is what it is. I hate
Yeah.
it, but it is what it is.
And interestingly enough, it was like Halloween. It was like Tom Brady came dressed as Jameis Winston. I saw that in a tweet. That's not original. It's not for me. But that's kind of what I saw. There were a couple of plays that Tom had that I know he wishes he could have had back. I mean, just based on what I've seen, and just I don't know what it was. I don't know what New Orleans does to him, but what is he like? 1-3? He's
I'll
one and
tell you
three.
what New Orleans does.
One
They
and
play
two.
two deep safeties. You can't throw deep on them, and they have decent enough cornerbacks to where basically you get off the field if you don't hit those 3rd and 6 routes, and then you have the game on the line. And it's the same thing that the Rams did. You have
Yeah.
two deep safeties, march the ball up, baby. And Brie, and Brady. Brady has this more killer instinct mindset of taking those chunk plays than what he used to. And
Right.
it is what it
Especially-
is. We
Yeah.
love Brady. I'm not worried about
Yeah.
him.
And again, it's one game. It's
Yeah.
one game. Not going to trip about it. We
Well,
just
it's
got to.
also it's the Saints building is probably a top 2 or 3 stadium in terms of hardest place to play. And where the Bucks struggled this year in LA, the new freaking stadium where the entire state of California is going nuts because Matthew Stafford made them relevant. So that was the big primetime game for them this year. And then you have at New Orleans where basically this has only been their second home game. These fans are nuts. It's loud as shit. Like Evan Winter, our boy, was basically live tweeting about how the decibel levels in there is basically like an earthquake.
Yep. That's kind of where I was. You know what? Again, it's just one game. And
What I'll tell you, Gene, is if we have to play the Saints, we possibly could play them twice more. Neither of them are going to be in New Orleans. So I'm not.
I can tell you right now, I'm not invested in this rivalry, this newly acquired rivalry, like some of the other fans are. My hatred lies with Atlanta. I mean, I hate Atlanta. I hate Atlanta so much. I'm disappointed that the Braves won the World Series. That's how bad I am.
No Ronald Acuna fandom?
Huh?
No Ronald Acuna fandom?
Yo, I was down with the cheaters. I was like, come on, steal the bus or steal the team bus or something.
Rays fans are coming after you, man.
Steal all their bats or whatever. I hate Atlanta. I don't want Atlanta to win nothing. Period.
Uh-oh. I heard the podcast Monday. Plus got some things to add tonight for the rest of y'all.
I know he does. I know my guy does. This is where it's at right here, and this is what makes this show great, is because I want to hear it. So for me, I want to kind of go down the list and get your opinions on how they fared, good or bad, on the game. And I am going to start with Tom Brady. And KB, I'm going to start with you. Then Pless, I'm going to bring you in. And folks, if you don't know who this is Michael Pless, Real Bucks Talk, and real good friend of the show. The guy knows his stuff.
So Brady, yeah. Take away 3 plays, Brady's still playing at an MVP level. I mean, even that deep pass to Evans that was missed, you can argue was defensive pass interference. I mean, he put that ball where only Mike Evans could get it. At the end of the day, it was like 2 yards too deep. But everything else, minus holding the ball for too long on one play where Cam Jordan finally gets past Tristan Wirfs, his daddy. Still is his daddy.
Karen didn't get past anybody. It just kind of happened. That play, like you said, he held onto the ball a long time.
Yeah,
Karen,
off screen, Gene and I were talking about this. Brady held on that ball like 6-7 seconds. I mean, like Tristan Wirfs won the rep. Like it was just a hustle play. Got a sack, fumble. Brady left that ball unprotected low. It happens, And then the 2 interceptions. The last one was, to me, the inexcusable one. The first one was more of a, well, shit, that could have been a great play by Chauncey Gardner Johnson Jr., whatever the heck his name is.
Yeah, you got about 8
Or
names. Yeah.
or you could say there was holding on two separate receivers. And again, I'm not going to throw, penalties into this,
Because
but like,
there were plays the Bucks could have made
oh
that
yeah.
that
But I
would have
think
still
Brady played a hell of a game. He just
yeah,
two
100%.
penalties. And that's the thing about the Bucks is we talked about this with Bob on last Wednesday. The worst thing that the Bucks could do is have a deficit in this game.
Yeah.
If you're the Saints and you had a lead or you were tied in that game at halftime, you knew that it was going to be a barn burner close one for the rest of it. The Bucks, looked great. Brady
Yeah.
led them back, but what are we gonna, you can't count on this defense. And I mentioned it earlier. They're gonna play off. They're gonna play zone.
Mhm.
This is the most man that they played, but obviously Ross Cockrell isn't matching up with no name receivers for the Saints. I mean, if I have to see him or Sean Murphy Bunting getting beat on that post corner route again, that happened like 4 times last year.
Right.
Even the Lions executed that one. That was like their only touchdown of the game. Like the cornerbacks for the Bucks outside of Jamel Dean are pretty slow,
Yeah.
even with Carlton Davis. So Tom Brady to me was still an amazing game. Did fantastic. It's the 3 turnovers. It's you mentioned like the Jameis complex earlier. I mean, he had those 2 turnovers, 3 turnovers that really
It
just cost the
happens.
game.
Yeah.
16 points off
Yeah.
turnovers.
It happens. Plus,
Yeah, what's up, guys? The Tom Brady, I thought he played pretty well, but I mean, Ken summed it up perfectly. It's the turnovers. It's you just can't have those type of plays, and it leads to points for the other team. But other than that, I mean, Tom played pretty damn good. I mean, he was accurate. He threw over for what was it, 300 and something yards, almost 400. So still at a very high level. Just had some uncommon, characteristic mistakes, especially in that last drive. You thought, oh, okay, this is plenty of time. We're going to get a field goal at least. And then he just pushed X instead of A, and threw it to the wrong dude. So,
And
it,
if I
it happens.
really quick, like that game in terms of Brady reminded me of a Matt Stafford Lions game where he 95% of the game was just like perfection, yards, crazy, touchdowns, great. Just the 2 turnovers, like just that's why the Lions lost. It's why the Bucks lost this week.
yeah. I mean, you got 4 TDs and fumble and 2 interceptions. I mean, throwing for 375 is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I would take
That
that.
defense is legit.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
Yeah,
put up
and you
75
you
on.
combine that, you combine that with the mistakes on defense, the penalties, all that stuff. Just it gets elevated and it catapults on you. So really put yourself in a bind. And they did a great job of coming back, taking the lead, and then all they needed was one stop on that last drive. They just couldn't get it done, and then obviously the last drive for the offense just didn't work out as they planned.
Yeah. Somebody was asking me, what do I have against Atlanta? I have everything against Atlanta. I hate that city. I would, if I had a plane trip to Atlanta, I would fly around Atlanta to go wherever I needed to go. But I just don't like Atlanta. The
Congrats to the
Braves,
baseball team.
yeah, the Hawks. I don't care. The little league
Gene
team.
Gene was very against the Braves winning. Just to let you know.
I was with the cheaters. If that tells you where I was, I wanted them to find a way to cheat, steal signals, steal baseball gloves or bats or whatever they need to do. I'm just not with Atlanta.
Well, Tuve's definitely taking some type of enhancements. We already know that.
We do know this. And I'm gonna make sure that they check somebody's emails.
I mean, a dude can't be that small and hit bombs like he does. I mean, I don't understand it, but it's just a baseball thing. I don't compute, but yeah, it's just, and it seems like his head gets bigger every year. So that's something.
Boom. The facts are coming out. So for me,
Barry Bonds type thing.
Tom Brady is amazing.
Mini Bonds.
And I only get my little 2 cents in here. Historically, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not had a quarterback consistent that we could really just kind of lean on to do so many great things. I mean, you got to go back to Doug Williams, and then you look at Chris Chandelier and DeBerg and Dilfer and I know I missed some other ones, Jack Thompson and some of these other guys, that they've had throughout history. The Bucks, outside of Brad Johnson, have not had a quarterback that's been consistent and just able to move a team down the field the way that Tom Brady does. So when I'm looking at this game, the Bucks were in this game, regardless of what the score was. The Bucks were in this game all the way till that pick six. They were just in this game. And that's the exciting part about it. I wasn't sitting on the edge of my seat expecting a pick six. It was kind of a surprise when it happened. But then I realized it's Halloween. It is the Saints. And, that's just a recipe for disaster. So watching this game, I was encouraged by it because these are players that we're not going to see as starters throughout the season. There are players, especially on the secondary, that are going to be more depth pieces as we go throughout the season and we get players healthy.
Pierre
So
Desir won't be on this roster, Gene.
he may. You think they drop him to the practice squad? Maybe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He had to be like a 30-year-old veteran on the practice squad because D.
Yeah.
Delaney, as we mentioned earlier, was getting the priority snaps over him.
And I don't know what the health is of him right now, but I could tell you, just how they held up against this Saints offense, and we saw the flaws. We saw the flaws. So for me, I don't have a problem with Tom Brady doing this. This is consistent of him. I mean, the Bucks were undefeated going from the bye week on into a couple of games into the season. So the Bucks have been doing what they've needed to do throughout last year into the playoffs or whatever. So you are going to run into games like this. And every quarterback has that Achilles heel. Just like Miami always played Tom Brady tough in this old division. I mean, or I think it was the Jets. It was either the Jets or Miami. One of the two played him tough all the time. But
Miami.
It was Miami. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he owned the Jets.
Yeah, that's right. He got a few coaches fired and whatnot. But coming back to this, I think this is kind of a similar situation. They just have his number somewhat, and I think he won when it counted, and that's the one thing I'll say. You can have those 3 wins. I'll give those 3 wins all day, but the fact that he won the one that counted, it's really all that mattered.
Well, to me, I think the biggest mismatch in that, I wouldn't say it's even Brady, against the Saints. I think it's more of Todd Bowles against Sean Payton. I think that's where the clear mismatch is. Even when Jameis was our quarterback in 2019, I mean, it's not like we were bad against the Saints. I mean, I think of in the 3 years how many points we've led up to the Saints. Even in that playoff game, I mean, until that strip by Antoine Winfield Jr., it wasn't looking too good.
Right.
So, I mean, it's Todd Bowles, and to me, the biggest thing to come out of this is, to me, I'm not like too worried. I mean, we had some offside penalties, a holding penalty. Like, I'm not
These are
that worried about it.
preseason penalties that you really have to get cleaned up, early on in the season.
Well, and then there's the roughing the passer thing, and
that was bullshit.
until BA came out and said that's Clay, whatever his last name is, that's his MO. If you even breathe, they're gonna, like, the player should have known better. Like Will Golston, yeah, his helmet came off, but like you can tell he had clear intentions of hitting someone in that moment, and Trevor Siemian just happened to be right in front of him. And that, that's unfortunate. But the biggest thing that I'm taking away that I'm actually a little bit worried about was Joe Tryon-Shoyinka only playing 7 snaps. To me, that is a disservice. Jason Pierre-Paul, while he batted a couple screens down, did not play well. And he hasn't played well, and that's mainly because he's hurt. And I know JPP's, hardcore tough guy, can play through literally anything. But he's not playing as well as Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, snap for snap basis. It's just not even a comparison to me. And I would like to see Joe Tryon-Shoyinka take 50% of his snaps and take 10 extra percent snaps from Shaq. He needs to be on the field more. Yeah. And those guys need a little bit more of a breather, rest. They need something, because them playing 90% of snaps isn't doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I really believe that JTS really needs to he needs this in-game experience. There were a couple of times I saw some bad angles that he took, on a few plays, and those that just comes with experience that you get better doing that, and you're 100% right. I feel like if they were rotating him in a little bit more, he would be able he's learning the nuances of the game pretty quickly, but there have just been times where I've seen him open field and he takes a bad angle where he takes a different angle. He's got to stop or he's got to tackle, and it just kind of doesn't work out.
While we're on that subject, I just want to say one more thing on my soapbox, and then I'll probably be a lot more positive through the rest of this podcast. I apologize for ever putting Devin White in the same sentence as Demario Davis. I know you hate him, Gene,
I
but
do.
Demario Davis is in a class of Levante David, Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner. Devin White's not in that class.
He is.
No, he is not.
I'll give the devil his due.
Oh, I thought you meant Devin White's in that. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, Devin
yeah.
White is not there.
Yeah,
The
I will
three
give the devil his
games,
due.
yeah, the 3 games that we saw of Devin White are, just a blip on the radar. They're not that consistent basis. This was one of his worst games, in my opinion. And Devin White, I didn't like his attitude post game. I know that's the big thing that everyone's talking about. But to me, it's the combination of his bad play with that attitude is what has me concerned with him. And I think he is a very emotional player, and I think he needs this bye week to just calm the hell down, focus on what you need to focus on.
Yeah, I mean the linebackers definitely need to play better, and that includes Levante David as
But
well.
he's playing hurt though too. I don't think we're all worried about Levante though, playing consistent once he's healthy.
Well, even before the injury, I mean the numbers are not very good from either one of them. When you look at last year, they had way more tackles for loss, more splash plays, sacks, etc., interceptions, and it's just not there right now. So I'm not sure what's going on there with the scheme or what have you, but definitely need to play better. Obviously, it starts with Devin White because he is the middle linebacker. He needs to be more assignment sound and just better overall, and making sure that he's not trying to take someone's head off, instead just make the play that's in front of you. And then as far
Don't
as
jaw at the guy on the ground.
yeah, that too.
Just walk away. Exactly.
Yeah, focus on being more disciplined and also understanding what your job is and do it as a professional. So with that said, talking about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, yeah, the Bucks are definitely not helping out real Bucks talk when it comes to
Your content.
content. We try to do a weekly, JTS video, and 8 snaps is, I mean, that's going to be the video tonight. That's pretty much
So,
it.
was he injured, or am I missing something here, or
No, I think it's just for whatever reason, I'm not sure why they're not utilizing Shoyinka more inside or moving JPP inside over guards. I'm not sure why that's not taking place.
I have a theory. Well, I'm curious on both of you because we've seen recently Joe Tryon has been picked on in terms of the screen game. And we know, for instance, the Saints are not afraid to throw screens, and that's the only thing I can really think of. But again, if you're trading away ability to stop a screen the way JPP knocked down 2 passes in the game versus actual pressure, I mean, I'm going to take pressure.
Right.
Yeah. And again, I believe that this is all the issues that he's having are coachable. I think the real game reps will help him. And I stand by that. I think it's going to give your defensive lineman JPP is going to give him rest. You'll be able to kind of rotate him in if you're going to use them both. But I still think that he's playing good enough to where he should get more reps in there and at least show what he can do and build that experience, because you're going to need that on the back end of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And I would like to have seen him in there, especially when Kamara scored on that pitch, because Anthony Nelson doesn't have the athleticism to at least make up ground there. If JTS is in that situation, he probably, finds his balance, he runs Kamara down, or at least makes it a more challenging play. So yeah, I mean, it's mind boggling right now, just seeing his snaps kind of go up and down, week to week. So I guess it just depends on the matchup and how they want to play it. But I definitely would like to see them incorporate him more, utilize him, inside or outside, move JPP over, have Shaq Barrett on the field as well, use Ndamukong Suh or Vita Vea, whoever you want to put out there as the 4th guy, and, or put them both out there. Who knows, whatever.
Yeah.
and just let it run. You know, I feel his athletic ability. You need that on the field, whether he's just dropping back into coverage or QB spying, whatever you want to do with him. I don't think it hurts to have him on the field.
All right. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about is the wide receiver room. And I want to get your thoughts on the wide receiver room, whether it's Mike Evans.
Godwin. God, what have I been telling you, Gene? He is the straw that stirs the drink of this offense. 8 catches for 140 yards, 17 and a half per catch with a touchdown. This offense could not have moved Sunday without him. And then shout out to obviously Mike Evans. You finally kind of broke off your little curse there with Marshawn Lattimore. I know I've dominated a bunch, so I'll pass it off from there. Also, shout out Cyril Grayson.
Oh my God.
He became the Scotty Miller. He's out there for 2 snaps, and obviously he's going to get a deep pass.
I did not see that coming. I can tell you right now, I did not see, especially not from him.
Yeah, the receiver room is very strong. But I mean, KB, like he said in the past, I mean, Chris Godwin is a stud. He deserves whatever contract he's going to get, going forward, and hopefully it's with the Buccaneers. He's the offense. I mean, when you put him in that slot and his ability to, win over the middle, win outside, win wherever he needs to, get the win. I mean, he cooks guys consistently. So, I mean, he put it to Gardner Johnson, and thank God, because that guy deserves a stiff arm. And I think that was a stiff arm for the whole league. It was a message because they're tired of seeing that guy run his mouth, and he needed to be shut up. So that was great to see. And then Tyler Johnson, I mean, he's so good. And
remember when we were getting questions about when he was going to get cut for Jalen Darden because he didn't play special teams? I remember that podcast. It was the 3 of us. I remember those comments floating.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, Tyler's another guy that I think is, you put him on any other team, he's probably one of the top receivers in this game, or at least trending towards that, as far as putting up numbers and being consistent.
Quietly kept secret.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's getting so much better in his ability to make people miss, catch in traffic.
And his route running is just getting so much better. If you're watching him, his route running, he's cleaned up his routes a whole lot. I don't know if that's has to do with Antonio Brown being here, but
I think Antonio Brown's helped everyone.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I think the wide receiver room has gotten better,
Mike Evans
as collectively since he's been here.
Yeah, no, for sure. The room is definitely, I think they're just more smooth in how they operate. Creating separation, I think, has definitely improved. Then making things happen after the catch, I think that's been the biggest thing. And you see Tyler Johnson, that is something that he knows he has to have in his game, because he just doesn't have that, deep speed. He's never going to be a fast guy. But what he can do is make those tough catches, body catches, make people miss in open space when he does have the football. So that is always very impressive. And I think that's more important than, say, just deep speed, because that is a trait that, yeah, sure, it helps, but it's something that you can stop, eventually.
And then remember when Brady came here and everyone said Scotty Miller was going to be his Wes Welker or whatever? No, like Tyler Johnson is that, like Wes Welker, Danny Amendola. That's his profile of a player. A good route runner with supreme hands. I think his hands are his best attribute.
Yeah. And they're just underrated. You don't really talk about his hands too much, to be honest.
Yeah. And speaking of Scotty, hopefully he's going to be back here soon. So
him and SMB.
Yeah, so that's even better, and you get a real speed threat, and that does change the offense. It helps because Scotty can just open up space for others. You allow those dig routes that the Bucs like to run inside. It just makes everything a lot easier for Tom. Definitely.
Yeah, and I expect to see so much more out of OJ Howard. And I know it's somebody we haven't mentioned. I know a lot of fans are kind of sour on him, but I believe that he will help this team and down the stretch on just with his play. Coming back from a catastrophic injury, and I've mentioned this before, I think he's doing better. And I don't know if they have him on a pitch count or what, but sometimes they utilize him, and just other times they kind of go away from him. So I'm still not 100% sure how they're using him.
Can I have a bold prediction real quick? I know we're still in the season, but I think postseason, I think OJ Howard is going to be signing a big enough deal with like the Jacksonville Jaguars, Washington football team, to us to get like a third or fourth round comp pick. He's going to have his role. People forget the Achilles is like the worst thing you can tear in your body. You literally lose all function of your calf down of your body, and you have to rehab all of those muscles. OJ's a big, he's literally a Greek god. Like this guy has to find a way to become athletic again, and that takes time, and it's going to happen. And I think Gronk being out is a great thing for him because he's going to get a little bit more reps, a little bit more reps, a little bit more reps. He's just not there yet physically. But I think we're going to see the OJ Howard of the first 3-4 weeks last year. 'Cause I think Gronk's going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah, I totally do too. I was surprised that they brought him back in. I would have rested him.
I would have IR'd him. The fact that he wasn't even IR'd was surprising to me.
Yeah, I would have at least until after the bye.
Yeah.
And that was my expectation there, was that he would be. But, again, hopefully he will be available for the postseason, depending on how the rest of the season goes for the Bucs. Interesting question.
I was going to say, I think he comes back, within the next couple of weeks. I don't see it being long term. I mean, he was close, I think, this past week. Obviously, his body just wasn't ready with the back spasms. So, I mean, just have to wait and see. Gronk is he's a tough dude. So I think if he wants to play, he'll be out there. But again, Bucs are going to make, the best decision. But if he's healthy enough, I think he gives it a go.
All right. King Cook was asking, what are your thoughts on the fact that we couldn't stop the third string quarterback over there?
It's the system. It's not Trevor Simeon that beat us. It's literally, we saw Jameis Winston. It's a completely different quarterback in that system.
Right.
Yeah, it's the system. I mean, they were trying to, when they blitz, they didn't have the coverage to back up the blitz.
Yeah.
When they
Can we
didn't
talk
blitz,
about that Saints O-line, though? Vita Vea was pretty shut down by Eric McCoy.
Well, it's a good offensive line. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been a good unit, for the last 5 years. The only problem they have, kind of bad numbers this year is because quarterbacks holding the ball longer. But it was just, there's a lot of things where the Bucs were close. They just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish the blitz. They couldn't, coverage guys were not in the right place when they did blitz. And, the Saints quarterback did a good job of getting rid of that football at the very last second and making plays. So just one of those things. They just got to fix that up. It has to be in sync if it's going to work. So we'll see what happens when they get some of their better corners back. Obviously, Carlton Davis can take, certain things away, and it allows the defense to be a little bit more flexible.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. It was just that this game, I think they'll improve after the bye week. I think you'll see a lot more from them. And King Cook has another question, and I want to address this one here. Do we overpay for Shaq Barrett? And where's he at wrecking games? I understand that people look at box scores and they don't look at the overall game. But, and I've said this, I've been saying this for years. Sacks are sexy. I understand it. When you look at a box score and you see a bunch of sacks, it looks good. But when you're getting pressure on the quarterback and they're having to set up double teams and the defensive coordinator is forced to address you because of your skills, that's kind of what you want. And I believe that Shaq Barrett has quietly had a very good season. And I would argue that with anybody, to be honest. I think he's had a great season. And if you go back historically and look at the defensive lines the Bucs have had going from 2017 back, we had fucking Swaggy Baker on this defensive line. I mean, just players like that just aren't anywhere near what you're looking at on this defensive line. So I'm happy to have Shaq Barrett. I'm glad we ended up getting him. I don't think there are too many people out there or too many other teams out there that um I don't know with the defensive line quite like ours. I'm good with how he's been playing this year. And
Shaq is literally the only person who's winning one-on-one games. People want to talk about sacks. He's had 2 sacks and 1 forced fumble already called back from penalties this year, if you want to play the stat game.
Mhm.
And again, I mean, Vita Vea and him are the only people who are consistently beating the person across from them. You can't help whether or not that turns into a sack or not. Yes, he had 19 and a half sacks 2 years ago, but even his biggest fans would tell you that's probably not going to happen. What is Shaq? He's an 8 to 12 sack guy. He's a guy who plays the finesse game, has done better in terms of holding up against the run game, but no one's going to mistake him for prime Miles Garrett, prime Von Miller. Like
right.
that's not him.
Mm.
But he could still be Simeon Rice. That's a good comp. Maybe not as good as Simeon Rice. But you know what? That's what our defense needs because we had JPP who broke the 10 sack streak. But JPP ever since that year, hasn't really been producing that much, but I don't hear people complaining about JPP. He's lucked into more sacks than Shaq has, and he had 19 and a half.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's something that is holding this defense back. The pressure with the front four, and if they could get more consistent pressure with that front four, they wouldn't be blitzing as much. They would be maximizing coverage. At least I hope, but you never know with Todd Bowles because he's so aggressive. He likes to play it aggressive, and that's another thing. Like your linebackers are not getting sacks like they did last year. Devin White had 9.5 last season. So
Yeah.
when you take that out of the picture and it's not happening, teams are, adjusting, they're getting the ball out quick. They're not allowing you to rush with 4. And they're not allowing you to maximize coverage. So it kind of hampers what the defense did last year because teams are just gearing for that. So it's up to, I think, Todd to really find an answer over this bye week and really see, okay, we need to make some minor adjustments, not huge adjustments, but get back to the basics and really understand this is what we need to do and keep it simple for the guys up front and the back end so they can work more consistently together and it gives you better results.
Yeah.
And just to end it, Shaq Barrett is not one of the problems right now. He's actually been one of our best players this year, if not, definitely the best player on defense, I would say, throughout this season.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Pro Football Focus gives him like a 82. And
that's probably the highest graded.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And just in coverage, they gave him a 82.4 in coverage.
Yeah, he's been lights out in coverage. He's been playing really well. And I'll be the first to admit I was one of the biggest negative, like just throwing all the criticism at him last season because he just didn't get it. But this year he's really worked on his game and he's just a complete football player and he's really been our best player on defense. Now it's up to, like I said earlier, Levante, Devin White, and Dominican Sue, Vita Vea, JPP, all those guys, they got to step it up because it really hasn't been very good. When you look at the tape, there's been moments, sure, but what they did last year and compared to this season, it's just it's very subpar. It's got to get clean.
And also comes to also the secondary in the sense that I'm one of Jamel Dean's biggest proponents. Like
He's been playing great.
He's been playing great, but you know what also what other teams haven't been doing? Targeting him. Because why would you target him when you're having Ross Cockrell, Pierre Desir, and
I think the only time he got targeted is almost an interception.
Exactly, but that's
early in the game.
That's my point though, because you're literally only as an offense only have to read half the field. I mean, like you're literally keying on your slot receiver and the opposite corner or opposite right receiver that's not on Jamel Dean. You can really scheme around that because, especially ever since Sherman's came in, I mean, they're a one-side defense. Like Carlton, plays one side, Dean plays the other. Like they're not switching sides. It works with, what we're doing, But when you basically abandon the entire side and then you want to blitz on top of that, like it's game over from a coverage standpoint. Like I was mentioning earlier, Pierre Desir's playing 10 yards off. Vita Vea can be held by 3 guys and still be in the lap of the quarterback, but the ball was already out 2 seconds ago. And Shaq Barrett also, like, in coverage, as we mentioned, he's had a fumble get taken away from him via penalty. And then Will Golston, has had, I believe, 1 sack taken away from him. Vita Vea has been held so many times that he probably should have 2, 3, 4 sacks at this point.
Right.
Like, the sacks are just really a number. And I'm not saying pressures is the be all end all, but to me, the pressure, like we're mentioning, it comes from all these sources. Like if Devin White and Levante are blitzing last year, they had tackles for losses, like Plus mentioned. They had sacks. Levante had, I think, like 3, 4, 5, and then Devin had 9.5. Like that kind of production just isn't there right now. And I think, as Plus is alluding to, it's a synchronicity. Pass rush, coverage. They complement each other. They hurt each other, and yes, I don't think our D-line is playing to its capabilities, but they're not playing bad.
Right. No, and I think if the secondary, I think that's the big thing. If they get healthy, obviously that's going to, put more talent on the field. It's going to help you do more things and be more versatile. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that is, again, it's fixable. All this stuff is fixable. So it's not really like time to panic, but it's just we're seeing things that are just not happening right now. And again, that could be just because of all the new pieces that they've had to put in this season. So once they get that nutrition and attrition back as far as healthy and get all the guys in there, should be a much better product on the field.
Yeah, I totally get that. There's a lot of people that are asking about the secondary and how we feel about them, and that was kind of where I was going next. I do want to ask your overall thoughts on the defense, but before I do, there's somebody that is actually watching the show, and they're kind of, their feelings are hurt because I'm not answering their question. But when you come up with a bullshit ass question like fire bowls is the first thing out of your fucking mouth, then I'm more inclined to ignore your ass, as far as that goes. And I would love to know what time your show starts so I can come on and check your show out and hit your comments. Let me know in the chat what time your show starts so I can check it out.
Oh, and then with that, I just want to fire off some bullets there. So like and I've been Byron's biggest critic, but that's mainly because you already have all of the rules in your favor. You have all of the talent. You've had no injuries really, other than the occasional Chris Godwin or maybe Antonio Brown out of your lineup. I mean, like, everything's handed to you basically on a silver platter. Todd Bowles has talent, but again, there's all of these rules that make your defense be so much harder.
Yeah, you can't
And
hit.
and then you have all of these injuries. What did we say? The 2 places this offseason that we said we couldn't afford injuries to, the offensive line and the secondary.
Yeah.
Well, the secondary is completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to make up this shit as you go on a fly. Like, has anyone here, like, I'm sure everyone here has a job where they've had a deadline of some sort. Well, imagine you have 17 deadlines for 17 different projects. Then all of a sudden, your computer goes out and you now all of a sudden have to do everything all from scratch again. Well, that's essentially what you have to do with that secondary. You're paying basic coverages.
Yeah.
You are playing 10 yards off. You're just trying to be safe
and
so that we don't give up the big
coordinators
play.
know this as well as everybody else does, if not even more. Yeah. And we've just been kind of fortunate that we've had quarterbacks that don't have the arm to get the ball where it needs to go at times, like a Jalen Hurts or, who is the other? There was another quarterback that, but anyway, you know where I'm kind of going with this. They just didn't have the ability to get the ball where it needed to go. So, Plus, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on the defense for this game? I do realize there's issues with the secondary, but
right.
How do you felt like they held up or did against this team?
Yeah, I mean, they had their moments. Obviously in the second half, they they played better because I think the Saints probably, backed off a little bit. They got a little more conservative, and they tackled better. The first half tackling was really bad. I thought they could have definitely tackled better on some plays. Obviously, the runs with Ingram could have been definitely finished, and that's something that they still got to work on. They got to wrap up and make sure they're tackling. I think at times they're trying to go for that big play, and that's something that this defense is predicated on, is getting those big plays. I mean, I think we're in the top of the league in interceptions already. So, it's just
with a rotten secondary, though. That's
it's
I
crazy.
think that
So,
makes sense.
and we want to fire the defensive coordinator, even though I think he's still doing a pretty good job with what he's been given. So, like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So I fully support you guys there. But yeah, it's just little things that can be cleaned up, executed a little bit better, and just being in the right spot. Again, you have so many different variables weekly. I mean, we got Richard Sherman out of retirement, early in the season. So, and he's already hurt because, again, his body was not ready for where he was going to get into. So it's just wait and see. Let's see how this team finishes. Again, this defense was very strong in the second half, and they were the real reason why we won the championship last year. So
Yep.
Let's see if they can, get things together, calm down a little bit, get their minds refocused, get some guys back that really can help them, and it should be good.
To
There you
me, what was okay? Like I think we'd all agree the Bucks defense played worse overall this game versus the Falcons game. The Falcons, we gave up almost 600 total yards of offense. You know what the big difference was? Turnovers.
Yeah.
So what did the Bucks do this game? Gave up 3, got 0 in return, and you only lose. Again, I'm taking away 7 off the scoreboard. You lost by 2.
Yeah.
Like that's what this is. This whole season is about getting through it healthy, peaking before the playoffs. What are teams like the Cardinals doing right now? Peaking way too early. You know what what happened? They lose J.J. Watt. Oh, you lose to the Packers. Oh, okay. That kind of stuff happens. The Cowboys, yeah, they almost lost without Dak. They peaked very early. Like, what do you look like in December? As long as the Bucks are a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed, we'll be okay. And again, I'm looking at this schedule. When coming into the season, we pretty much all wrote off the Saints away game and the Rams away game.
Yep.
To me,
At
the only
least.
other 2 losses that are even potentially on this schedule are at Indianapolis and then home versus the Bills. So at worst, we're looking at a 12-5 team, but most likely a 13-4, 14-3 team. So weird for me to say. We are going to be okay. What did Tom Brady do? And I saw some verified person, NFL insider said, took a picture of Tom not chasing down the interception. What do you want from this man? He's going to get through this season healthy.
The Saints were looking for this guy. They were looking for.
You could see Demario Davis had his eyes on Brady, someone made a funny comment, like Demario was like, "You're going, bro," and Tom's like, "No." He's like, "All right." Like if Tom Brady moved, Demario was going to lay him out.
Yeah, there's no reason for Tom to chase that dude down. Like,
yeah,
he's not. Man,
that's not.
I hate saying this, but look what happened to the Saints.
I was going to say something bad.
Their season's over. They might make the playoffs. They probably will make the playoffs. Jameis Winston is a quarterback that can either ruin, for the Bucks, he couldn't make the playoffs.
Blessing and a curse.
That's what I'm saying. But he got hurt. The worst thing that could happen to this team is Tom Brady getting hurt.
Right.
Game over. Like, we could live without. I bet you we could still win games without Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. We've already been winning games without the entire secondary. This team needs Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Just get through the season healthy.
I don't even know why somebody would bring that up.
Hey, he was verified. That's all I know. And his thing said NFL Insider or whatever. I forgot his name.
It's just to get attention. But yeah, Tom's not gonna go after that play. I mean, he's like, okay, this game's over. I blew it. I'm just gonna sit here and watch. And
Well, look at these
Yeah.
quarterbacks we're playing: Taylor Heineke, Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Okay, yes, we're gonna say Josh Allen. Then either Taysom Hill or Taylor Heineke at home.
Yep.
Different on the road. But then you have Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson / Kyle White, and then Sam Darnold again. I'll take
Do you
Tom
think
Brady
they-
with this depleted roster over any of those teams right now, except maybe Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah, that's going to be I think that's going to be the benchmark game.
That's where you either start your peak, or you're like, let's say the Bucks have a 10-game window again. Let's say they start peaking at that Atlanta Indianapolis game,
because
and then
they're not
start
even close to
carrying the
peaking
momentum.
right now.
And I don't want them to. I'll settle for 12-5, 13-4. I don't care.
I think the big thing you look at is just the process, the process on both sides of the ball. I think there's a lot of good things with the process. I think there's just some minor adjustments that they know they'll make as we get into the second half of the season. You got to remember, now all these teams have more film on you, so now you have to do a little bit different, a little bit more tinkering. I will say this: they did figure out the run game. I really love what they did with it. So
they've been changing it up too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's more versified. It's just like
I
it's
want to
not
see
just
Gio Bernard. I want to see more. I know he's at the back end of his career. I get that. I would hope to see more of him sprinkled into games. I think he's beneficial, to be honest. We
Save him
certainly
for the
do.
playoffs. He popped a 24-yard run, Gene.
Yeah.
Against that Saints defense.
It was a beautiful thing.
I think they're definitely going to keep him in the back pocket. Same with Rojo. I think all those guys are going to be needed. Leonard Fournette is just taking dudes out in pass protection. It's fun to see. Like I love it when he just knocks out DeMario Davis, because not many people do that, and he knocked him out. Like he puts this guy on his butt, and it's really fun to finally see someone do that to DeMario Davis, because like the dude's everywhere. Like he is the Saints defense. He looks like he's 10 players out there because he makes every play. So when you can get him on the ground, that's a victory. And that's something I didn't touch on. The offensive line was fantastic in this game. They were dominant. They've been dominant. And please, Donovan Smith, stay healthy, because I got scared when he got hurt, but glad he's okay.
And I think the Bucks have a top probably 4 or 5 offensive line. I think the biggest difference, as we saw like with like the Saints, of why their offensive line is so elite, where I think we are super elite in the pass blocking game, and yes, some of that's attributed to Brady. The run game, like I think we've made those strides.
Yeah.
But like if you put our defensive line against our offensive line, I don't think we move the way the Saints did. The Saints were getting to the second level.
Right.
Vita Vea was stonewalled, at least not 2-3 yards in the backfield. And I think that's the difference from our offensive line being, top 5, I think, which is exactly where they need to be. They don't need to be the Saints.
And I think they're figuring out the run game. They're understanding that
they're pulling people.
Yeah.
They're pulling.
They're pulling. They're moving.
It's good to see. And I'm loving seeing Donovan Smith as a run blocker. And it's like one of my favorite things to watch him do. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but I guess they've never really used him to his strengths early on, and just seeing him as a run blocker, it's fun to watch.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. It's just the way they're utilizing the run game. It's just it's really come a long way. Using the outside zone, various with inside zone, duo, doing some pulls, and like Ken said, I mean, and then using that with your passing game. It's all integrated. Utilizing the play action game more. That is something that I think needs to be the tinker. Using that PA more. If that comes in the second half, utilize that with motion, and then also doing your reverses with Jalen Darden and others. It's going to be something nice to watch.
Yeah, most definitely. My man Cody from we got Carolina Panthers in the house.
Oh,
shout out to you guys, and what you're doing.
They got a big
your
win.
Cigar City hat looks like the Panthers. It's in that coloring.
Yeah, but it's Tampa Bay. It's not. It's Cigar City.
Yeah.
They
got a huge win.
Yeah, they really did. And my guy Shaq the other Shaq over there. I've been a big Shaq Thompson, been a big fan of his since he was in college. I think he's finally coming into his own in Carolina. So big time win for them. I've been kind of dragging this along. I'm sorry. I'll try to speed this up a little bit. I do want to talk about what's been going on in the NFL. Von Miller.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I had to get there. Von Miller going to the Rams. How big is this? Is this big, or is this a little bit big, or is this a real situation here?
It has potential to be big. I'm not sure what it is going to be. Obviously, Vaughn has this season, when you really dissect the tape, he hasn't really done much. And again, that could be because he's double teamed, triple teamed at times, but really hasn't made that impact that usually you see from a Von Miller. So I'm not sure he's the guy that he's been in the past. But going to a team with an Aaron Donald and obviously getting less attention, you'll have more single matchups. And maybe it's a defense that he likes as far as a scheme fit, better suited for his skills. And yeah, well, I mean, we'll just see what it does. I think it has good potential, though, for him to really be that impact guy. I'm just not sure if he still has that in him. I think he's kind of winding down, but we'll see. I mean, this could motivate him and be in a position where it's a new
Change
team,
scenery.
and could be something good.
Well, Von Miller, to me, it's a big risk in his health. If he's healthy and makes it to the playoffs, I think it's a great move.
Right.
Yes, they have 1 5th-round pick, and I think a comp 3 or 4 that's coming their way. But I love
scouts.
yeah. I love that their Twitter account, and I had to go pull it up while we were discussing this. They have, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Rounders.
Yeah.
But when KGB is throwing all the chips on the table and saying their comment is we're all in, and I love how all of the Bucs fans hopped in on this, realizing that Teddy KGB lost the hand because Matt Damon outsmarted him, and we know Tom Brady's on the other side of it. But what I think the biggest impact of that move is, I mean, we thought the Cardinals did it with Zach Ertz. It was kind of like their move to be like all in. But like this is the Rams, like this is it. Like we have no draft picks next year. We have all of these high-priced guys.
Yeah.
And like we have nothing else that we can really do other than maybe get like the Tom Brady, you get like the really cheap veteran cast off. Like this was their move to say, hey, we know it's your window, Brady, but we're going to come and join the party. We're all in.
Yeah, there you go. And then they get rid of Deshaun Jackson.
But the best part of that move, Von Miller plays the left side of the defense, which is the right side of the offense. So if Lord willing, the Bucs play the Rams, at least Von Miller will be on Tristan Wirf's side.
Thank God. He's our sticker. I didn't say that. So
hey, he's going to be $120 million tackle.
Yeah. And I want to kind of stay on the subject of people changing teams here. And I don't know if you saw where Odell Beckham Jr. basically got Keyshawn Johnson, and he's basically on the bench right now.
I'm so mad, Gene. I was in my work fantasy league. I thought I was getting Antonio Brown at the perfect value. It was like 6th round, of a 14-team league. I was like, oh, I played my cards right. Pick before me. One of my coworkers took him. And I was so distraught because then all I had left to choose between was Odell Beckham Jr. and Kenny Galladay. And I was like, Odell's coming off the knee. I don't believe in Baker, but the whole talent thing will triumph. The Browns will be a good team. Can't coach attitude. And for years we heard Odell Beckham was the best wide receiver in football. No, sir. He was the most talented wide receiver in football, but guess what? Talent can only get you so far. Give me 5 Mike Evans before any smidge of Antonio Brown any day of the, or not Antonio Brown, excuse me, of Odell Beckham Jr. any day of the week.
Yeah, Odell had some, big years to start off his career, but ever since it seems like he made that one-handed catch, it's just been about promotions and getting, or not promotions, but getting like the sponsors and getting the TV
His
deal.
brand.
Yeah, the brand. And and it's the same thing with Deshaun Jackson. So Odell is just a younger Deshaun Jackson in my eyes as far as the person, and they just
Speaking of Deshaun Jackson,
care about the stats. And
well, no, he asked to get cut by the Rams, who are a
Right.
Super Bowl contender, and his only 2 catches this year happened to come against the Bucks.
right.
Yeah, we make certain, the Bucks make certain players look good, like Danny Dimes.
Well, no, but like Deshaun Jackson was only probably motivated to beat the Bucks because he feels like we ruined his brand.
Yeah.
No, he ruined himself. But
Yeah.
and Odell, I just don't think he's got it anymore. And if the Browns feel like, hey, we don't need you, just sit your butt at home, then
Yeah.
that's what they can do. And
Mr. Everything Bucks, no. If Odell joins this roster and over, like, let's say a Chris Godwin or even over Antonio Brown, like I might have to go get me an LA Chargers. I'm all in on like something because I can't support OBJ on
Chris
the Bucks.
Godwin has to stay. You let Antonio Brown walk, and keep Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller as your 4 receivers. You'll be good to go.
You know where Odell should go? He should go to New Orleans. Let him ruin that locker room.
That'd be perfect.
No, I don't think
Slant Boy.
Yeah.
Let Slant Boy do it, and let Odell run the go routes.
Now imagine Jameis, Odell, and Mike.
Oh my goodness!
Like imagine
Jameis would panic because like everybody wants the ball, so I got to make them happy. And then Jameis is going to throw up these miracle bombs and see if someone can come up with it.
Now give me that. That's entertainment.
That's
I have to ask you with did anybody follow what Michael Thomas, he came out and said he's pretty much done for the year.
I don't think he wants to go back to the Saints. So
I think it's a quarterback situation. I don't think it's the team. I don't think it's the players.
Until they get a Wilson or a Rodgers, I feel like it's just going to be quiet around the Michael Thomas point until next offseason.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that we've had Bob Rose on before. He writes for Sports Illustrated. I've talked with some of there's another writer over there at SI, and I just haven't heard from the New Orleans camp that there's like friction. I've heard this from everybody else. I've heard these narratives from ESPN or NFL.com or whatever. But in this instance, when I look at Michael Thomas and that catastrophic injury that he got trying to run up the score against the Bucks, and that just kind of carried over until now, I'm sure he had an opportunity where he could rehab and he could get back. But again, I could be wrong. And, he's a competitor. I'm sure he wants to be out there, but I just don't think this is a situation for him.
No, I agree. I think it's, this process could have been definitely handled way better than it has been. I mean, he injured that ankle, the first game last year?
Last year.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter.
Right. So, and then he tried to come back. He was never healthy. And then
he came back too soon. They should have shut him down for the whole year, but
they could have done that. Why put him in week 8? Just bring him back week 16.
I think he wanted to help Drew Brees win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's my point, is bring him back week 16, not like week 8.
Yeah, there was no reason to rush him.
Yeah.
I mean, they were still going to win games. So, yeah, it's mind-boggling from that standpoint. And maybe, he feels some type of way towards the Saints organization for that. And then you look at the offseason, didn't get surgery until way late, trying to rehab it. And then now he's got a setback with the ankle. So I don't know. It's a weird situation.
But what's and I'm playing both sides here. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible right now. Who wants to get surgery? Who wants to get cut open? And if they can try to.
Well, that was my point last week when we had Bob on. Think of all of these players who've probably never had a surgery in their life, and you just expect them to be okay going under the knife, especially when you have second, third opinions who say, "Yeah, we could rehab this."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't fault his decision. I mean, if you can rehab it, go for it.
Right.
No one, I agree with you guys. No one likes to, get cut, but it's just weird, like how they just handled the whole process, and it seemed like he was making, hayway, but obviously a setback, and apparently this is a different. Maybe it's a different injury. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah, I
the
because it
same.
didn't sound like it was aggravated. I'll have to ask Bob about it, but it didn't sound like it was an aggravated
I just
injury.
want to see him
It
go
was
up
it was a
against.
secondary injury. Like he got surgery for one thing in regards to his ankle, then he hurt something else,
Gotcha. Okay.
and it just caused complications, is what my understanding is. I'm not a
Okay.
And
doctor.
for me, it's about the competition. I hate to see a player out. I hate to see a team lose to another team
Well, so that's
because
where the Jameis Saints thing stinks, is because to me the whole fun part about it was it's Jameis and the Saints. Like, are
yeah.
they going to be competitive? Can they beat the Bucks? Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, Heineke, not Heineke, what's his name? I don't know why I have
Oh,
Heineke on my
Simeon,
mind.
Simeon.
Simeon.
Yeah.
Simeon, yeah, any quarterback can come in the middle of the game when entire defense hasn't prepared for you and be okay. It's the Saints aren't going to be a 13-win team now.
Right.
They're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But as like a
I think they'll be
10,
like a
11,
wild card,
12.
maybe. Yeah, they'll be like
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like it changes the whole dynamic of everything, and that's what stinks about these kinds of injuries.
Yeah, I agree. And I definitely want to see Michael Thomas versus Carlton Davis. I mean, going forward. I mean, that's a fun matchup. So
yeah, because that game one was a great game to watch. I mean, just watching Michael Thomas go up against him, and what he ended up with 13 yards receiving or something like that.
yeah, I don't think he had a catch.
Yeah.
In the
Or-
playoff
even-
game, yeah, no catch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, that's
oh.
right.
All right. So, again, and I wish Jameis the best. I don't if you've ever played the game, if you ever played the sport, you don't wish injury on anybody. And it really pisses me off when I was in on social media seeing Bucks fans that were celebrating Jameis Winston getting injured. Me personally, the Saints are a division rival, and that's the extent of it right there. It frustrated me to see fans out here celebrating this because this is his career, this is his livelihood.
There's
I wouldn't
also a
wish-
publication that did that as well, Gene. I mean, I'm not going to say their name. I don't want them to get
Oh,
clicks, but a
no,
couple of very old guys, we all know who they are, basically wrote an article saying that basically cemented the Bucks ceiling as being cemented the Bucks as being the division winners. And I just don't think you write that.
no, it's not. It's how you handle it. It should have been handled better. Well, go ahead.
No,
There's
that's what I'm saying. I just don't want people to click on that article because I know it's circulating, and that's what those kinds of outlets want. They want you to click because pay-per-click model, they get advertising money from it. Just don't click.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they were still around. Yeah.
Oh, they got a Hall of Fame voter plus. Rick Stroud isn't a Hall of Fame voter. Jenna Lane isn't a Hall of Fame voter. Scott Reynolds isn't a Hall of Fame voter. But Mr. Kaufman is, and he's our presenter.
The coffee.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, those guys, they've been passed by. I mean, there's so much content out there that's way better, obviously, but yeah, they are what they are. They're going to do what they do.
Yeah, most definitely. So again, let's hope that Winston's 100% healthy. I would, next year, I know he's going to rehab. He's an incredible,
I
person.
can't wait to see his rehab videos.
Yeah,
Those are going to be fun.
It should be exciting to see that. But I don't wish that on anybody. It just to me, it kind of ruined the game for me as I was watching it because I wanted to see the Bucks defense go up against Jameis Winston. I wanted to see Todd Bowles make adjustments to go up against this Sean Payton team.
Yeah,
I didn't want to see Simeon come in, or it just kind of ruined the game for me. So again, I'm a Bucks fan through and through. The Saints are a division rival, but I wanted to see that rivalry, and that's something you talk about later on in life. Just like the Bucks versus the Saints in the playoffs. That's that division rivalry that you talk about. We can sit back, we can sit around drinking beer and talking about the playoffs last year and how the Bucks went in and sent Drew Brees home. It wouldn't have been the same if we're talking about Drew Brees was out and we had Jameis Winston in there. And we're like, oh, yeah, the Bucks beat the New Orleans Saints with Jameis Winston. Wouldn't have been the same. There would have been nothing close to that game and how much that game meant in the process of the Bucks going to the Super Bowl.
Right. I agree.
So, guys, I had so many other questions. I knew that we may go long.
Jordan Love. Jordan Love is playing this week.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
Even better.
Now the question with Jordan Love playing, is there a possibility if he does good, does the front office kind of look at this as a plus, or how do you guys feel about this?
Green Bay's trading Aaron Rodgers this offseason. They've already basically announced that they restructured his contract so they could do it. So yes, this is Jordan Love's audition. Like, this is it, bro. Like, if you beat even the Chiefs defense isn't good. If he does well, it's Aaron, you're gonna finish out the season, blah 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 blah. Yeah. But it's gonna be Jordan Love.
But we're going in different directions and we're out.
Yeah, I like.
All right. Well, plus tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Yes, it's real simple. Just go to YouTube, type in Real Bucks Talk, one word, hit that subscribe button, hit the likes. You want to do it. We have weekly shows, Monday live stream at 9:00. Also our film studies, which we're trying to get out sooner. It's been hard this year with NFL Game Pass and their restrictions, and really it's been a poor product this year. So we've had to do some workarounds and try to do the best we can.
Can we get our money back?
Yeah, I mean,
I saw, and real quick, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I saw the European version of All 22. And I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah. The European version is actually what we use. It's actually better
it's like 20 times better than what we get.
Oh yeah. So we went the route of getting a VPN, and it's way better. We had to pay. We had to. I know. NFL is going to come back and kick my ass, but anyway, it's it's just
this video will be taken down like in maybe 45 minutes, but
sorry, Gene.
No, I'm just messing with you, man.
No, it's all good. No, seriously, they have spies, but follow me at Real Bucks Talk on Twitter, and check out our great content as we try to put that out weekly.
All
right. KB, my man.
Y'all know how to follow me. I just want to use this time to say, everyone, please don't drink and drive. Obviously, everyone knows what's circulating right now. And like, for instance, we don't even know the name of the victim, but know that it's not decisions you make to be selfish for yourself. It's what that impact is on everyone else around you. And my heart goes out to that family. Obviously, don't know any other details other than what's been reported by the police and the investigation that's currently ongoing. But you don't have to go 150 miles per hour to really seriously injure someone. An Uber, a Lyft, paying someone to drive you home that wasn't drinking, having a friend, a family member. There's people around you who care about you and want to help you, because we only don't want you to do it to anyone else. We don't want it to happen to you either.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like, even here, you run into people with the wrong way drivers here. I mean, it's an epidemic. I think Florida and Arizona are like neck and neck with wrong way drivers.
Happens every day, it seems like, here in Florida. So
yeah. So again, just don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive, and just do the best you can. And guys,
something like just we have so many apps that are accessible. You have a phone, you can text. You can go with someone, have someone just designated.
It's gonna be Uber.
I'm everyone's designated driver. Like, have someone around you that can be there and help you and support you.
Well, my wife is alcohol intolerant, so she can't really drink. So she can like take a few sips, and I have to take one for the team and drink for her. And she drives everywhere. When we go to, like, tomorrow, when I go out to Old Town Scottsdale, we'll definitely be using an Uber to get back and forth. So definitely doing the safe thing. And it would break my heart if something happened to somebody. So yeah, you're 100% right. Again, I hate that it happened. Asante Samuel, I think the same thing happened to him, where he actually killed somebody as well. Again, it's sad that it happens, but it's just about making the right decisions, whether it's on the field or off the field. we should always be thinking about making the right decision. So, um, at this point, everybody enjoy the bye week, enjoy the football games. You don't have to stress about your team playing. Just enjoy yourself. I'm going on vacation starting tomorrow. So
Yep.
party time, baby.
I'm right there with you, Gene. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll be working.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be, I'll try, we're going to have some fun. The weather's nice. This is the ideal time to be out enjoying yourself. So, everybody have a good evening, and we're out of here. Peace.